right? I'm okay with that. I feel like that when you put things out there and you put it out there, it'll come back in one way or another. First of all, I just want to say thank you, God, because I know these people are far, far, far from any brave, daring individual. They're coward and low life. They're just opportunists. And as opportunists, they find ways to try to counter reality to enjoy what they're part of. Because the truth is, I know what this is about. It's clear that as a target individual, what we become is guinea pigs. We come in all shape and form. There's men, there's women, there's children. It's obvious that governmental entities are running this program, and we go through this whole disturbing process of being tormented and traumatized and broken down for the purpose of developing a weapon. Right? The perps come, like, the way they can just create stories. I'm just like, how do you even, like, maybe they are daring in the sense that they are okay being illogical. They have no shame. For me, some of these people are like smart, supposed to be intellectual, analytical people, but just like anybody, when you want to live a fantasy, when you want to enjoy what you do, but you don't want to see the reality of what you're part of, you're going to come up with a fantasized reality to enjoy what you're involved in. Target individual, you're going to hear a target individual that come in all shape and still be vilified, tortured, tormented by a whole community of people. Like, what I don't understand is, like, those women with children that have other women partake in their torture and their tormenting. I know that these people here will do the same. I know. Because this program has somehow facilitated people to do evil. Not only to just men, but to women and children. I know they can do that. I have no doubt. They'll find ways to cope with the reality. Maybe they'll be, oh, that's so sad, but let me enjoy this. With me, I put that in their face. Because with me, what they try to create, one is the psyop. They try to make themselves be like, we're this avenging, feminist, femme fatale, we're making you pay, this is your time to pay. I'm like, piece of shit. There's nothing more disgusting to see these people, and cowardly as they are. There's somebody who's supposed to be there, but that's how cowardly they are. They will say something and then turn off because they know the reality of what they're part of. That to me is just validation that they are conscious of the reality of what they're part of. They're just deciding to they're just deciding to find ways to ignore it. But they're very much conscious of reality. And I know that. So when they do these things where they say something and want me to be vilified by it and then leave, and I was like, okay, so you are very much conscious of reality. Because you're saying that. You're embarrassed of saying that because you know the reality of what you're actually part of. You know what they do sometimes, like, oh, we're worse. I was like, worse? Oh, God. Really? You're just worse, huh? No, you're not worse. You're something else. You're something else don't worry, you're going to get yours. For me, they tell me, oh, there's going to be a surprise awaiting me. It's like, I expect the worst. So it might be a surprise, as in I don't know exactly what, the manipulation and whatever's going to happen. But I expect the worst. This low life don't expect nothing to come back from them, to be involved in this. Nothing. And when something happens that's bad or something, that they just try to say, oh, it's just kind of timing, It's like, okay, it's kind of weird though. And I don't want to go into details, but let's just say some of them have witnessed some weird things. In the midst of breaking me down, perhaps things have happened. Now, I don't care about that. I don't even need to see them suffer or go through whatever. Honestly, I don't care. I could easily forget this purpose because I know what they're part of. They participated in whatever destruction I went through, but it was already ongoing because I was put in this program by other people. So they just participants of my bad things, whatever I went through. And with me, the things they do sometimes to try to like escape the reality of what they're part of. It's like, oh, we're going to torture you worse. You know what it means? They're saying they're going to torture me worse than the way they torture women. Worse than they torture children. That I'm going to go through worse hell than the hell these women and children are going through. Can you imagine that's how they cope with the reality of things? I'm involved in a program that brings hell to babies, to women. But him, oh my God, the anger. Oh, I'm so mad, you're going to be tortured worse. I'm like, what the Can you imagine being involved in atrocities? And be like, we usually torture these women and children this way. But because of this and that, we're going to torture you even worse. I'm like, trash ass. So how would you be tortured then? They think another way to just escape from what they're part of is like, hey, I didn't partake in the torture of this woman. No, you just chose to partake in a program that does that to women. You're very conscious of it. That's why you want to get out of this immediately when you say these things. This guy said something about, oh, you grew up to something. Talk about me at the nightclub. I'm like, you serious? Listen, I'm not perfect. I've done some damn things, especially my younger adult. All right. You see that picture of me? It's me like when I'm 19 to 22. I used to go to this nightclub and it's damn things I did. But I'm talking to people who literally are burning vaginas. I'm not exaggerating. You're gonna hear that. Actually, you're gonna hear what I'm talking right now. They're involved in a program where the women genitals, the private part of women, are being tormented using these energy weapons that can do harmful things to you remotely. So I'm looking at them like wow. So you're such an opportunist that the anger that you have for me at this nightclub acting this way and doing whatever, while you're so mad that you've decided consciously join a program where children, no, I mean, let's go to women are saying the things that you're going to hear. It's evilness that don't even comprehend. I'm like, what? I'm never going to get you think I can let you do that? Listen, I know I'm not perfect. I know my imperfection. Me at this nightclub and grabbing what I know, looking back, is like, but I cannot let somebody who have accepted to involve themselves in a program where you hear these horrible things about women. The atrocities of what they do to women is horrible. They are destroying women. They are burning the genitals. They're cutting the vaginas. They don't. I mean, it's disgusting. And let me not even go into the children, because that's it's beyond. That's when you like, oh, okay, you need to kill yourself. I know that's what you like to tell target individual, but this purpose really need to do something. Do you want me to let you escape? And they're like, oh, we're worse. Like, well, because you burn vaginas? Sorry, are you worse? Are you saying you're worse because genitals are being mutilated using this technology? Is that why you think you're worse? Explain to me. What are you exactly saying that you're worse? What makes you worse? That you are, you should see their faces. First of all, they look angry. Pain. And like, I'm like, Jesus, let me listen to this woman that is being tortured by the program you're involved in right now. And she's like, they try to soften up a little bit. Just, trash ass opportunists. You know exactly what this program does. It's just they want to do this to me. Like, oh my God, I'm so mad pain. They're enraged. I'm like, what? You don't have rage for the poor women that are being tortured. But you have rage of me at the nightclub grabbing a butt. Listen, if you're going to be mad and enraged about that, please don't be involved in a program that's what you're going to hear. Don't be in a program where you literally are burning vaginas. Doing these horrible things. They're like, you're going to be castrated. I'll castrate myself than ever connect myself to something that does this level of atrocities. At 19 to 22-year-old at the nightclub doing what? While you are here burning genitals? I can cut my own genitals for that. Just because I will never want to let people involved in this program do that. And in their mind, it's like there's some kind of adventure. Oh, we die. What? No woman that's out here worry about other women who get involved in a program where they're destroying women. And they talk about me at the nightclub when I'm like 18, 19 to 22. While they are here, this woman came and used the restroom because they sexually assaulting her private parts to the point where she came and used the restroom. This is real. You're going to hear that. I'm not making this thing up. Can you imagine like, oh my God, you pay, but you're involved in that? It is a mixture of comicalness and horror. And you should see how this woman like, no. That's what the guy, he said whatever he said and then left. I'm like, that's what I understand. Because you understand the reality of things. You're worse in the sense that we torture women in this way. We do these things to them. That's sexual torture on top of every other. They destroy everything. I can't let them do that because I know what this is really about. I cannot let these people involved in this program that they know really what you think that there's now bigger words and they I know the reality of things. I know what's happening to me. I know why I'm into this. I know. Do you think they're gonna be, oh man, when he was like 19 to 22, he grabbed the book? Well, I'm in a program that does these things. I cannot, never let people involved in that say that to me. And like, oh, we expose you. What? You expose yourself to be involved in a program that literally are burning vaginas. What do you mean you expose me? You're a clown. And then you tell me I'm nothing. What is somebody who is supposed to counter this? You are so, they are so childlike mentally. It's like, how can I feel exposed by people who burn genitals? I'm like, how can I even, like, you think, go ahead. You know where they talk about? Let me just show you where they expose me while they are here burning vaginas. Let me give you a sample of what it sounds like. Let me bring up this nightclub I used to go. I just want to put perspective before you listen to this woman. Please listen to what exposed me and where I was as they exposed me. I'm bringing that up. Try to. Oh, now it's funny. My phone is. It seems like I'm having issue to find the folders where I save these things, because it's not the first time they try to use this as way to create that fantasy. Matter of fact, I was playing this trash comes, I die for it. Now listen to what they do to women. Right? They do these things where they tell me they're gonna frame me by playing child porn on computers and do these things. They're gonna have a child say that I raped them. That's the trash we're talking about. They created all kind of stories to make themselves believe that they're somehow protectors of women and children. But listen to what they do to women. This is reality. When I hear this shit talk about die for it, I'm like, what? Leave countering this. Listen to what they do to women. This is real. This is what horrible things they do to women.
Hey, I just woke up after a pretty rough night. The same thing happened last night as the night before, which was whenever I was trying to go to sleep, the private parts of my body began being burned again, and it felt like someone pushing out something inside of my body. So, yeah, that's what I am up against today. Today I'm actually dealing with something that's like stupid. So, yesterday I went to the couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours. Many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. I also experience what is referred to as mellow anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth, and forced eyeball movements, and phantom touch sensations.
Okay. So you're gonna hear better after this, some clearer version of those testimonials. That's what they do to women. I didn't bring up what they do to children. Matter of fact, they were trying to bring up this. It's like you gotta die for it. Oh, you're gonna hear that. You're gonna hear what they do to babies. They're discussing low life. And I don't know what's happening to my phone. I don't know if it's me doing something to just erase that, but it just seems like the folder. I have a folder of all the things they do to me, because what happens is I do present that. The YouTube videos you see, a lot of them have these pictures of what they've made me experience, and who these retards that live around here that they use, that expose, like, look at this trash. This is what they do. Look how they look. These bottom feeders, like, they're gonna use these dumbass children in this fashion. I'm gonna make sure that whatever they do, whatever surprise I'm expecting, that they understand there'll be a surprise coming for them. Me, at least, as surprised I'm gonna be, but I'm not gonna be really that's surprised, because I expect nothing but the worst. That's this trash actually gives surprises. These people here are just the low life. They are remotely working wherever they're working. They go on vacations, but they always thank this low life here living around for doing what they do. Some of them are going to vacations, enjoy their life, act like they're normal people, and let these bottom feeders here doing their retardation of life. Oh, but I'm glad I was able to capture their pictures and show this is the low life involved in the program that does these horrible things to women and children. Talk about, you see the nightclub thing? I wish you could to try to gaslight me. Hold on, maybe I'll bring some. Like, you can clearly hear that. They're bottom feeders, loser of human beings, and I'm so thankful to God I never had to live life like them. This is the reason why this guy just immediately got off camera after saying that. Oh, what you did at the nightclub over there? I'm like, really? See the picture over there? That's what the nightclub looks like. Me at the age of these people there, while they're here burning vaginas, you're gonna hear that. Cutting genitals, you're gonna hear that. I'd rather rot away using this 21st century weapon system, which is what they're using to do whatever they do to men, women, and children. I will never give this low life a fantasized reality. It's gonna be reality. Oh no, I'm not perfect. I know my imperfections, but please, you understand what you tied yourself to. And they have this trash bottom people say, oh, we lie, we're gonna surprise you and say with this. Oh, please, that's perfect. What do you think trash do? What do you think people involved in the program that literally cut the vaginas would do? Yeah, they won't be like honest beings and morally correct people. They'll be the ones utilizing their own children in these nasty ways. And I'm glad I'm here to be a prophet for them. Regardless of whatever pain I go through, I'm already dying. I understand that. I know that my body has been hit by this 21st century weapon system that is literally slowly killing me. All they did is compromise themselves. And they think they're going, oh, we're going to move on, life is going to be good. No. Oh, what, you really think so? Oh no, let me bless you in my ways. And they still were trying to present themselves like this, like avenging femme fatale with these warriors. We are not. This is a program led by the government that happens to have a lot of issues with pedophilia. Yes, you're going to hear that. And I'm not going to let this trash escape from reality. Target individual, stay strong and see this low life for what they are.
Amigo, well, it'll stop like this.
I have pictures.
The source. So they'll say we're the the V2K. So they'll say we're the Russian government, we're the Chinese government, we're evil aliens, we're Satan's, satanic ritual abuse. And I've heard all these stories. One guy believed it was some 14-year-old kid with an Xbox that lived next door. The trickery really is that great when you're under hypnosis that people will believe something other than a massive government could do this.
It's already being used. I mean,
if you talk to the victims, the TIs, one of the worst breakdowns, and it's pretty common. I think I can say the word simulated rape and forced orgasm.
You can say anything you want. This is the internet.
Okay. And so simulated orgasms and rape is extremely common, and especially violating for women. They complain about that torture breakdown the most.
You feel that you've been injustice?
You mean as far as the Justice Department feeling me?
Well, in terms of your being a victim.
You mean what I'm feeling?
Yeah, explain a little bit to me how you perceive yourself as being.
Well, I have actual photographs of burns on my body. When I went to my doctor, the response was, "How do I know you didn't do that to yourself? How do you even address that?" I've passed 2 psychological evaluations, not 1 but 2. The one physician said, "You're mentally sound as a bell." He said, "I don't have any idea what's going on with you." When I go to sleep, when I go to try to sleep, I feel like I'm being lit up like a Christmas tree. I feel every cell in my body just bouncing out of my body. I can't even describe it. I get electric shock of my rectum. I get electric shock up my nose. I've woken up with burns on the end of my tongue. I've had burns on the palms of both of my hands. I vibrate. I can barely hold a piece of paper without quivering. Does that answer your question?
I'm trying to find what's the source of the...
The source are these exotic weapons. They talk about in 2976, but if you would pass it, it might give other communities the courage to do the same thing and show our Defense Department we are not the enemy. We are not to be attacked. We are not terrorists. Most of us are defenseless women. The next speaker.
Hello, my name is Kimberly Buckner, and I have been a targeted individual for a very long time. The things I have experienced due to being targeted, they have been unreal. But however, I can personally attest that this is very real indeed. My life has been destroyed in every possible way, and every day has been a struggle for me. I am very grateful to be before you today due to Amy Anderson's due diligence and to everyone else involved. I thank you, council members, for giving us targeted individuals a chance to speak and to be heard. And I pray that these atrocities will soon be brought to an end. But we need your help. Thank you.
Alex.
Military medical research. I too believe my experience is referred to as no-touch torture, utilizing defense technologies. Jonathan Marino, he basically predicted all this a number of years ago in his book Undue Risk. I'm asking you to help initiate a congressional investigation. We've all come a long way. This is what is needed. We want to have the accounts of this extreme human rights abuse that's going on in our country documented and heard, all of the accounts. We also need what was done during the Clinton administration, which is a major declassification of some of these documents that are hiding what's been going on. I speak for many when I say we've suffered long enough. My personal experience has been 10 years. I've been vilified. I've been ostracized. I've been tortured. I have burns on my body. I'm an American. I have rights. The answer to the question, the big question today, could it happen today? The answer is yes, it is happening today. It is happening for some of us every day. I am begging for you to help us. Thank you.
I'm kidding.
Hello, everyone. My name is Leslie Crawford. I'm here from the state of Michigan. I wanted to speak about biotechnology applications being utilized on my person. I have medical reports showing eye damage being done to my eyes. My eyes does not have a mirror image. I also have nanowiring inside my eyes. I have pictures of the actual implants from the eye doctor. Once enlarging the nano implants, you will see a copy of the actual particles in my eyes. I have CAT scans, MRIs, and PETs showing wiring, nanowiring in my head. This is my brain. It's straight from the right side to the left side of my head. I also have implants in my chin, in the chin region on both sides. One side shows a wire, the other side shows the actual implant. Implant particle devices coming down through here. Projectiles of the nanoparticles on the side of my head. Enlarged pictures. These crimes is happening in America. This is a domestic problem, not only international. The victims is not being just victimized individually. We are being victimized and our family members as well. Gang stalking tactics and harassment was utilized to implement us into this program unconsensually.
Leslie, I think your comments reinforce much of what we've heard, and if you don't mind, I'd like to make room for others at the microphone now, since it seems to be reinforcing. Juan, I'd ask you to pick somebody, this gentleman right here. Yeah.
She's been waiting.
I'm sorry, who's been waiting? Oh, yeah, please.
Okay. My name is Eugenia Derden.
I'm sorry, Eugenia?
Eugenia Derden, yes. Everything I've heard from this commission and this panel about ethics, they were mostly talk about pharmaceuticals research, but I haven't heard anyone talking about a psychotronic weapon research, a bioelectromagnetic weapon research. Who in this panel are familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Raise your hand, please. Who of you know about psychotronic weapons? Any one of you? Psychotronic bioelectromagnetic weapons. Are you familiar with that?
Not at all.
No? Okay. In this audience, is anybody familiar with a psychotronic weapon? Okay. Okay, the audience is familiar with that, and I think that in order for a panel or a commission to be able to help this problem and this issue, we'll have to have more knowledge on what psychotronic weapons are. I am physically leashed from my neck to the electromagnetic power of one of the weapons that is being used against me. I get tortured day and night. At night it's with nightmares and all kinds of dreams that I don't want in my head. And throughout the day is my body. They fraud with my neurological system, so they do anything to my body. Sometimes it's painful, sometimes.
My name is Dr. John Hall.
In a way, I'm very sorry to address you like this because I think that what you're doing is very admirable. But I'm here to represent this other group, and I am also targeted, and this is my story. My name is Sandra Field. I'm an architect, recipient of Who's Who of Women in America Achievement Award, and have run a successful business for over 28 years. My life and livelihood have been compromised for the last 11 years by being attacked by electromagnetic radiation torture and by organized stalking. I cannot live in my rent-stabilized apartment in New York City as a result of this torture. I'm currently staying in motels and friends' houses in the last year. Thousands of Americans are currently suffering from chemical, electromagnetic, psychological, and physical torture with no government relief or laws. Our servicemen, prisoners, and thousands of unknowing, innocent civilians are currently being lamed, tormented, and tortured as a result of military research, medical research, pharmaceutical research, physiological and psychological studies that have virtually destroyed participants' sanity, physical well-being, reputation, and privacy.
And the plan is that Mr. Juan Chuck back here will be, has the list of folks that will be offering comment. And maybe the thing to do is to just dive into that. I want to remind you before we do that the commission, of course, is charged on the topic of...
Ms. Cassandra Lewis?
Hi, Ms. Lewis.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Cassandra Lewis, and I'm a targeted individual from Baltimore, Maryland. My story may sound disjointed. I'm trying to keep it within the minute and a half. I worked as a legal secretary at Hogan & Hartson in Washington, D.C. It is now called Hogan Lovells. Attorney Jan McDavid made a client mistake that she tried to blame on me. I then refused to work for Ms. McDavid. Shortly thereafter, strange and inexplicable events occurred on my job, and after being fired, followed me to my home and to all my travels. Attorney Christopher J. Hagan, formerly of Hogan & Hartson, Mr. Samuel Conrad, he's a retired security administrator of Hogan & Hartson, and Robert Johnston, who is the current firm administrator of Hogan Lovells, are responsible for my targeting. I believe to protect Ms. McDavid's reputation, a phone call was made to whom and why they did this to me. I truly just speculate. Gang stalking and harassment was used to implement this non-consensual biotechnology application that is being used on me. I now experience involuntary limb movements. I receive stingings. I get pains to my head, to my abdomen, to my vaginal area, and to my anal area. I am receiving...
Mrs. Marshall?
Good afternoon. My name is Connie Marshall. I'm a former mayoral candidate from Louisville, Kentucky. I have never been involved in any criminal activity. I found a document in my bank account that said, problem with Kentucky government, check federal government paperwork and file before releasing information to anyone. I am an 8-year victim survivor of assaults by directed energy weapons. The torture I've experienced consists of body overheating, body extremely cold, seizures, heart pain, ear aches, itching behind eyes, burning behind eyes, swelling, headaches, involuntary movement of my limbs, exhaustion, speeding and heart racing, hair coming out by the handfuls as if I've had chemotherapy, mind paralysis, being hypnotized or placed in a trance-type state, being tracked by a drone or satellite, controlled dreams, sleep deprivation, B2K, which is voice to skull, projected sound, extreme muscle spasms, and extreme muscle cramps, being made to fall down, blue circles around the pupils of my eyes, and I'm here and you can look at them if you like, low frequency noises in my home, high frequency noises in my home, sexual stimulation, numerous electrical appliances in my home are destroyed, 4 computers, 2 fax machines, 7 telephones, 4 CD players, VCR, DVD players, electrical igniter switch on my furnace, washer and dryer, air conditioner, also my car radio, CD player, and engine were destroyed. I am watched in my home 24 hours a day and followed around everywhere I go, though I do not have a criminal history. When I ran for mayor of my town, I was also attacked at debates and forums. My website is www.justiceforallcitizens.com. Thank you. And I would like to leave these flyers with you all as well.
Perverted, involving many combinations of sensory and motor manipulation of my mind and body and of the people around me. This includes many different types of zaps to varying degrees to the genitals, butt, anus, and the entire pelvic area. This also includes many kinds of movements, such as the rocking, swaying, jolting, vibrating, and shaking of my entire body or various body parts, specifically in a sexual way. The severe vibration is a highly noxious stimuli and is very intolerable. They sometimes do pulses or throbbing sensations on the genitals too, etc. There are also body movements such as rocking my pelvic area back and forth, repeated rubbing sensations, the sensation of something going up my crotch and in and out, etc. They also often force vaginal discharges and zap my genitals at the same time. These sexual assaults are present throughout the day, every day, and anytime I am awakened at night, every night. They range from mild to extreme, but usually involve daily and nightly continuous assaults for the past 3 years now. When severe, the zaps to the genitals feel as though someone is electrocuting my genitals repeatedly. I also experience what is referred to as malo. Anything electronic. They have even locked me out of my office building that uses an electronic key. It is often very difficult and an immense battle just to even sit on the toilet to go to the bathroom. Not only because of the bowel and bladder manipulation, but also because of the frequent severe sexual assaults on the genitals, my butt and anus, shaking, vibrating, and rocking my body back and forth, and forced eyeball movements, and phantom touch sensations doing rubbing sensations, etc.
But I was going to be shot in the face. And it was an older guy. He was like really, really disgruntled and pissed off. Yeah, you're going to get shot in the face. You know, sound like an angry ass old person. You know, then a couple of days later, a female said the same thing. Don't get shot in the face. You know, stupid shit like that. But what I really noticed is with the voice of skull, it's a bunch of females. You know, and I'm like, bro, really? You're not a woman. What real woman would stalk another female or sit back and allow that to go on? You really think they think it's nothing wrong with them?
So yesterday I went to the beach and drank a couple of beers and just sat down there after laying in bed and sobbing for 2 hours because the private parts of my body were being burned and my breasts are removed. And it's the trauma from it. it's not being able to cope with the pain and the emotional trauma that comes from someone harming me. using, I guess, remote medical technology is my best guess. I went and saw a dermatologist. Hey, I just woke up after a pretty rough night. The same thing happened last night as the night before, which was whenever I was trying to go to sleep, the private parts of my body began being burned again, and it felt like someone pushing out stream. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. I don't really know what to do. I tried to go to a doctor to get some kind of pain medicine because what actually happens to me, a lot of strange things. I've been doing some research, I guess what it's called, organized stalking. I'm called a targeted individual. But the abuse last night was pretty extreme. I can feel it's going to be the same again today. Already on the harming of the private parts of my body. I don't really know what to do. I tried to go to a doctor to get some kind of pain medicine because what actually happens to me, what is happening to me is my actual physical body is being burned. And so it causes me to go into shock, and it's excruciatingly painful. And I have my limitations on the duration and length of pain that I can handle. So it was a couple of weeks ago, I tried it. I don't know if the government has the right to watch and the proper in a lot of capacities of the things that I've faced. So today just just feeling some pretty general fear about my own safety, because the government's burning the private parts of my body. Sometimes it feels like a laser or like pins and needles, like a tattoo. Sometimes it feels like a sunburn. All of that today. This morning, it's like not even noon yet here, and already I'm experiencing the pain and the harm to my body, to the private parts of my body. Today I'm actually dealing with something that's like, it's different than the burning the private parts of my body. It feels like somebody is trying to literally like cut the inside of my body, of my vagina, and I'm bleeding, and it's like bright red blood, and it's extremely painful. And I've talked to 2 people about it today. I've kind of talked to
become very brittle and suddenly I will somehow have a lot of fractures from minor things like stepping off of curbs. And this is just a hypothesis. It's based on past experience of things that have happened, of how the system tries to cover up things that it does to people by saying like, oh, well, this was pre-existing, or oh, it was just your natural normal body. See, look, now you have something else going on that points to this. I don't know how to explain to you how deep corruption goes, but it's, you know, I'm dealing with it, baby. But I suspect that's what's going to happen. I hope not. Hopefully this video being out in the world and people being my voice will make so that that doesn't happen. It is absolutely unacceptable for the government to be watching and for teenagers to be sexually assaulted and raped, which is what happened to me, that I have been under close watch for my entire life, and horrible, horrifying, heinous things have happened to me and no one has been prosecuted. And that is the absolute truth. And
went to bed. I had all, and they had relatively high floor, and they had all of a sudden I had been there like 4 or 5 days, and the night before I was attacked really bad, I noticed a maintenance man about 10 or 11 o'clock at night messing with all of the lights up and down the hallway. And as I'm sorry, I get kind of upset when I think about this because it's really messed up. Um, and my spidey sense went off, and I was really kind of nervous about like what the hell he was doing out there because he was kind of a sinister, he was real creepy kind of person. So the next night, I believe it was a Friday night, I went to bed. I had all of the doors, all the locks on the door, even the one that kind of like goes over that you can't open from the outside. I had everything locked up. Figured I was safe. I went to bed maybe about 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up about 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, bleeding out of every hole, sick. Someone was in my room, or had been in my room. Food was missing. My dogs were traumatized. I had been obviously sexually assaulted uh, in all the worst ways possible. I got up, first thing I did was vomit. And all I wanted to do was I was just in shock. There was a do not disturb sign on my door, and I didn't do this. And there was lotion all over my bathroom floor. All I wanted to do was just get on a plane and get the hell away from everybody. And I was, very, very sick and in a lot of pain. I had already been denied a rape kit when I owned my house, and woke up, and my hair had obviously been pulled out, and there were earplugs in my bed. And I felt like someone had done something. I went to Palos Community Hospital, um, under the directions of a non-compromised police officer who told me that if anything happened, to go right to the hospital. So I did. And I had a compromised doctor who treated me like a third-rate citizen and said she would give me an STD test and a drug test. But she refused me a rape kit. And so I had already been kind of traumatized with hospitals anyway, and honestly just wanted to leave. So I stayed in my room until about checkout, and then when I was downstairs waiting for my cab to come to
pinpoint one person, it's everybody, it's all the time, and so it discredits your character and your state of mind, which, starts to make everybody believe something's wrong with you, and then you start believing something's wrong with you. But it's not you, and you know that it's not you. It's just hard to prove. But don't go get, mental health help. Don't see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Most of the time, they're involved too. Your police are involved, your firemen, ambulance, people at the hospitals, they're all involved. And it's unfortunate that we live in a society that gets a kick out of doing people like that. But it is what it is. The only thing you can do is stay strong and focus on the people you love. I was lucky enough to have my mother, who was going through the same thing that I was going through. They started saying all kind of crazy stuff to her at her jobs, and
and I am a victim of organized stalking, electronic harassment, microwave torture, V2K abuse, and I'm asking you to help us end this crime against humanity, which has impacted men, women, children all around the world.
Hi, I'm Wan from Malaysia. My family are targeted individuals. We are victims of cyber torture, and I will not give up. I will fight to the end.
And am a victim of organized
We need
stalking,
this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, and I'm speaking to you on International Targeted Individual Day. I live in the U.S., in Illinois, and am a victim of organized
We
stalking,
need this to stop.
electronic
That's it.
harassment, microwave torture,
I've been targeted for 9 years.
24/7.
Please become more aware of this crime and those that the crime is being committed against. We need your support and help in ending this crime.
Hello, my name is Wendy Brown. I'm a targeted individual who is living in New Zealand, but my targeting began in California. I'm an American citizen, and the targeting continues in New Zealand. I'm making this video in remembrance of Targeted Individual Day, our third annual Targeted Individual Day. And I'm asking that every honest-hearted human being open their eyes to a crime.
My name is Jeanette. I am 56 years old and I live in Baltimore, Maryland. I am a victim of covert electronic harassment and torture. I am a targeted individual.
Hello.
Why? Because it hurts. I need help. I need you guys to come get me. It's brutally painful. I have a house, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms.
Ms. Catherine Nestor.
My name is Catherine Nestor, and I'm from Pennsylvania. This commission has spoken of a long history of abuse of the human research subject. Although no one mentioned MKUltra today, President Clinton recently apologized for this. My young child and I have been used as non-consensual test subjects. We have been subjected to COINTELPRO-like stalking, remote neural monitoring, and electromagnetic torture, resulting in psychological and physical damage. And I won't go into the details of that because I have 4 pages written in here that is very similar to Connie's testimony. Please do not wait 70 years to investigate this. I ask Dr. Amy Gutman to begin today.
I am currently a speech-language pathologist working in private practice with young children. I had a 7-year-old client who has autism, and she was the most significantly affected of all of my clients. I eventually had to tell this client to go to another clinic, and they used her to threaten the most torture in me as well as their most extreme forms of torture. For several months, she would cry and scream horribly during our therapy sessions despite having a great day at school. This was highly unusual behavior for her, as she usually behaved very well during her therapy sessions. I observed her gasping for air a few times in the same way that I do when I am being more severely suffocated. The suffocation had been in a mild state for a while up until this point. Many of their torture methods are cyclical in severity. Right after I saw this child being suffocated, then I began to experience very extreme suffocation all day, every day, for about 2 months straight, and that's also when they made it worse when I eat. Then I also work with a 4-year-old little girl with Down syndrome, as well as her 5-year-old sister who also has Down syndrome. I observed both of these girls suddenly grabbing their genitals in pain and verbalizing, "ow." I observed this at least on 1 or 2 occasions for each of them during their separate sessions. During one session, I observed one of my 3-year-old clients suddenly grab his crotch and lean forward in his chair. And then he made a frightening grimace of severe
and have had a decent education. I live in El Dorado Hills, California, with my wife of 14 years, Lorna, and our 5 children. Nicole is 15, Patricia 14, Christopher 13, Dylan 9, and Avery 16 months old. Not only have I been going through this, but my entire family has suffered right by my side. We have all experienced the same type of harassment on different levels. We have all suffered the same symptoms while this harassment was going on. Some of our physical symptoms include severe tooth decay and vision loss, unexplained rashes and burns, severe headaches, mood swings, anxiety, thyroid problems, high blood pressure, heart problems, vision loss, and cancer. Two of my children were born premature, which I attribute to this. Our son Dylan, now age 9, was born very premature. He was born at 31 weeks. During her pregnancy with Dylan, we were being targeted more so than other times. At the delivery, there were weird men walking and waiting around the hospital. Right outside our delivery room window, there was a white cargo van parked with 2 suspicious men inside. They were there the entire labor, a delivery. Our son had to be transported to another hospital 45 minutes away. When arriving to the Toa hospital, those same men and van were present. Three of my children have severe rashes that have not been explained by several doctors. These rashes have been present for several years at a time. If interested, I will gladly furnish you with detailed photos of the rashes. Our infant daughter, at 3 weeks old, was diagnosed with Lerner's syndrome. This was after a severe rash appeared on her body after a few days of torture. We were told by a couple doctors to take her home and love her and spend the rest of the time we have with her. They told us she would ultimately die from this syndrome. Thank God that Lerner's syndrome was not what affected our daughter. Doctors are still dumbfounded by her rash and symptoms. Sadly, we know that her symptoms were effects from the torture this poor innocent 3-week-old baby endured.
Why? Was a mentally unstable individual.
This shotgun is the primary murder weapon. On it he etched a number of carvings, including "End to the Torment," "Better Off This Way," and "My ELF Weapon." Alexis had been hearing voices and believed he was being bombarded by microwaves, something naval authorities knew about.
There are multiple indicators that Alexis held a delusional belief that he was being controlled or influenced by extremely low frequency, or ELF, electromagnetic waves.
And in his computer files, the FBI found this.
A document retrieved from the electronic media stated, quote, "Ultra-low frequency attack is what I've been subject to for the last 3 months. And to be perfectly honest, that is what has driven me to this."
And so on what should have been a routine day, Alexis killed 12 people: mothers, fathers, sons, daughters. Diane, they never had a chance, and still no answers as to why so many red flags were missed.
As you say,
In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior. The project reportedly ended in 1969, but DARPA's investigation of how machines can affect and possibly control the brain continues to this day. Human mind can be altered. In 1965, DARPA launched Project Pandora, which studied the possibility of using microwave radiation to control human behavior.
of innocent citizens being controlled by government-sanctioned experiments? Is Cheryl Welch telling the truth, or are her claims absurd? Just another conspiracy theory that's impossible to prove? Maybe. But not if you listen to Nick Begich.
I think there's some good evidence that Cheryl Welch and many of the other people I've spoken with have been victimized by this electromagnetic mind control experiments. The weapons of this century aren't bombs and bullets and ordnance, but electromagnetic energy targeting the human being, which is a greatest revolution in military affairs since gunpowder.
Begich is an expert in government mind control. He is convinced the Pentagon has mastered a technology once thought to be science fiction, the ability to broadcast information directly into the human brain.
Our government began spending a lot of time looking at how to modify behavior of human beings. Going back to the Korean War, in fact, in a publication, Low-Intensity Conflict in Modern Technology, they have a chapter on electromagnetic weapon systems, being able to not just to debilitate someone, but actually even to stimulate certain activities within the brain.
But how?
HARP is the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Project, which started as a joint effort of the Air Force and Navy. This is a very large array or field of antennas based in Alaska, radio frequency antennas.
HARP antennas transmit powerful radio signals into the upper atmosphere to study the effects on wireless communications. But Begich says HARP can also be used for more sinister ends.
HARP has announced several other programs and campaigns, and there's two areas that I got very concerned about. One was weather modification applications. The other was the effect on human beings. If you can modulate a signal that the brain locks onto, recognizes, and begins to mirror or follow the frequency following response, the brain rhythms change, then it creates a chemical cascade within the brain and the emotions change. Now the resolution gets finer and finer and finer. And it used to just to be about triggering emotions. You could change people's brain chemistry pretty readily, change their emotional state pretty easily. But when you get down to the idea of thoughts and being able to manipulate those, that requires a different kind of sophistication.
Can we hear sounds?
Designed to interact with the human nervous system in order to remotely pick up on someone's neural network or EEG and not only receive that and monitor it, but manipulate it and place it back into the victim to control their emotions or control their actions or bodily functions for that matter. The other more recent term we have for that is EEG heterodyning or EEG cloning. The difference between EEG heterodyning and EEG cloning would be, let's say, me remotely receiving your EEG and then duplicating it and putting that in another person to give them your same thoughts or feelings or physical reactions. EEG heterodyning would be receiving your EEG, manipulating it to put it back inside your head to give us a desired physical reaction or emotional reaction.
With external fields of all kinds. For radio frequency, you can look at the Radio Frequency Dosimetry Handbook, 1986, University of Utah, produced for the Air Force. It gives you the resonant frequencies for each vital organ so that you can send in a radio signal that will couple with the liver, the kidneys, the lungs, and cause them to malfunction so that you can degrade the performance of your adversary. The new weapon systems being developed today will attack the mind, the body, and our physiology on an energetic level. Not with bullets and bombs. It's a perfect Republican weapon. No offense to Republicans here, but you don't want to destroy the property. You're going to have to rebuild it afterwards. This is a weapon systems of the 21st century. It's the very beginning of it in a lot of ways, but the research goes back over 50 years.
My name is Dr. John Hall. I'm a medical doctor from Texas. As I understand the memorandum from the President, it's for you to determine if current legislation is adequate in protecting individuals and if there's any ongoing experimentation. In reviewing the common rule, it's very obvious that there's a lot of loopholes to informed consent. All of the horrific experiments you've mentioned
Willowbrook, MK Ultra, radiation experiments mostly were done without informed consent. They were funded by the DoD and intelligence agencies, where I'm not even so sure you would know if there's an IRB, much less if an IRB is looking at informed consent. As a physician, relative to some of what you're hearing today, in the community, we are seeing an alarming rate of complaints of use of electromagnetic weapons, microwave auditory effects, silent sound spectrum, EEG cloning, which has taken the lab out of the laboratory and into the home. Most of these, from the research that we reviewed, can be done remotely. It seems to be more weapons research than medical research. I personally corresponded with upwards of 1,500 victims, all complaining of identical complaints from every state in the nation of being exposed to electromagnetic radiation, non-ionizing radiation for the use of cognitive control or behavior control. I've submitted a paper to you, and there's another paper submitted to each member from another physician in Kansas City, alluding to the same thing.
You do that, you can control them using neuro-linguistic programming techniques. You're rewiring their thought processes and brains. And so this gets into what's called offensive information warfare. And they used it, I believe, in the Gulf War. You can call it a eugenics program even. But also walk them to their... They want to see if they can... Hyper game theory. How do you... They want to see if they can manipulate people to do things that are irrational, but also walk them to their death. And so you can call it a eugenics program even. And they need to sample all cultures, language throughout the world to define their probability matrices of which tricks, techniques, deception works. So how do you control a brain? Most people don't believe that. Well, you can't control me. I have my own free will.